Insurance. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today is Tony Harris, City Administrator for the City of Clinton. Tony, good to see you, my friend.
Good morning, Seth.
We follow up, of course, the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. How was the meeting last night, Tony?
Meeting was good.
Short?
It was short.
Of course, because I wasn't there.
That's right.
It's how it always goes. School board short when I'm not there. Council short when I'm not there. County board is short when I'm not there. They've got their short.
Well, when you're there, we just know that we have to work extra hard.
Yeah.
Make it a little longer for you.
Exactly.
So.
You guys provide me the content when I'm there. That's what it is.
That's right.
I appreciate that very much. No, but in all seriousness, let's follow up that meeting. Anything out of the meeting last night?
Well, we had an ordinance for sale of a piece of property on the north side of the square. That's something that we've been working on for a few months now.
What's going on there?
We just sold the green space that they call it. It's right next to the city-owned parking area that's on the northeast side of the square. That was sold, and the person that bought it is interested in doing something with it. We're not quite sure yet, so we're waiting to see what kind of plans he might have for it. So
okay,
it's kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
So
wasn't there a city build or like a downtown building there at one point?
That was the old Maverick building.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I remember Maverick back in my day, when I was a young adult, we'd go in there for dinner, and it was a happening place, but it closed down, and eventually I think the city actually tore the building down. And
I thought so, like maybe 10 years ago or so.
Yeah, there were some major issues with it, but yeah, that was taken down. I don't know how long it's been, several years ago. We sold that, and now we're in the process of we're looking at another set of buildings. And I hate this. I hate it that we're getting involved in tearing the buildings down on the square, but we're looking at took bids to demo a building on the corner of Monroe and East Main.
Mm-hmm.
It's the building is, and I've taken a couple of calls like, why can't you rehab some of these buildings that you're looking at tearing down? Well, in this particular building, there's no rehabbing.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, and Commissioner Ballinger mentioned it last night, that it's a very dangerous and hazard situation in this building. There's no rehabbing. I was able to get into the building, and the north wall has totally collapsed. The part of the roof is collapsed. It's in the basement. I'm not even sure what's holding it up. So it's definitely a very dangerous situation. And sometime back we had another building like that where the old movie theater used to be there in the 200 block of East Main that had kind of the same issue, and it actually collapsed, and it could have hurt someone really bad. So so we're looking at those type of things and taking those serious, and we're going to take it down. And no, the city, we don't want to have to front that cost to remove the building, and we don't get that money back when we sell the lots, unfortunately. But we whatever the council decides to do with it once it's down with the empty lot. There's been some talk of they don't want to make it a parking lot. They'd rather see another retail business go. Now, will that happen? I don't know, but the goal is we're not just knocking down buildings and with no plan what's going to go there. We're gonna have a plan in place after they're down as to what the council wants to see.
Sure.
And for my preliminary discussion with council, they'd rather see another retail business there.
Okay,
so that's our hope. And,
all right.
And again, there's a TIF district downtown. It's not the most successful TIF district, but there would be some money maybe available that could help with new construction, a new business downtown.
Okay,
possibly.
Sure. Let's kind of go down some of these agenda items, Tony. Let's start with the institutional authorization form for Heartland Bank. Do you know what that's about?
I do not. I don't know a whole lot about that. That was more of the treasure thing. It's just I believe it's just a thing that they do every year to authorize form for Heartland Bank.
Okay. Gotcha. I know we just had the chief on talking about this, but approval for flock cameras, $24,000 yearly cost. What's going on here?
Well, if you remember, I brought that up, I think at the last time I was here. That project started with me looking for security cameras for the new park equipment, the Kiwanis Park. that's how I got involved in it. And I was told by Commissioner Ballinger that he wants me to find some security, some cameras out there to provide security to make sure, because that's a $500,000 investment the city put in, and there's no there's no really houses around it where anybody can keep an eye on it. So the council wants some kind of camera system out there. So that's how I got involved in it. And then I was contacted by uh, a sergeant from the police department, and we had a meeting talking about the flock cameras for the rest of the city area and license plate readers. So that's how that came about. And we did some had a couple of meetings with the company and felt like that was a good thing. So I know that there's been some negative comments about that. We had a meeting, the chief and I and the chief deputy or sergeant had a meeting with the company again yesterday to address some of these things. And, I feel good about it. There's security measures in place where data won't be misused. If there's an incident that takes place where they have to log in to search, for vehicles that went through at a certain time, there's security measures in place where you have to give a detailed reason as to why you're logging in and pulling that data. That data belongs to the city of Clinton. We do not sell that data. Flock does not sell that data. Flock doesn't even have access to that data. And that data only stays in the system for 30 days and then it's gone. And when I say gone, it's permanently gone for 30 days. So it's not like we are, holding data, tracking people. We are, it's not a mass surveillance. It's a point in time image of the rear of a vehicle on a public roadway. And when I say that, I also want to point out that, when you're in the public, you don't even realize when you're out in public how many times you are captured on camera. When you're putting fuel in your vehicle, you're on camera. When you walk into a retail business, you're on camera. When you walk down the sidewalk, very likely someone that might have a Ring doorbell.
You're in your own neighborhood. You're probably on camera.
So it's that day and age that we live in, and I just want people to rest assured that this is it's a safety measure only to help reduce crime. And if there is a crime, then we have an avenue to go back and search. And I was a friend of mine had an incident where they own a business and they had a theft that happened, and they have cameras and they got the vehicle description, and that's all they have is a vehicle description, a description of the person that took the items. Of course, the person, I'm assuming, was not from Clinton, left town, and the case never got solved. With this kind of software, it's so intelligent. You can put, it's a white Buick with a sticker in the back window. The systems is so it's in a way where you can put that kind of data in there, and it will search the data, that 30-day data, and find all white vehicles with a sticker in the back window. So it's that smart. And what it's doing, it's searching that, and then we can go back and get the image of the license plate. So it's not constantly running and keeping data of license plates. It's a tool for us to go back and solve crime. Not only solve crime, but if a wanted person comes into town, which I think Chief Flowers mentioned that happened, I think last summer, where we had a wanted person. I don't remember what the crime was. It was a pretty serious crime that had been in town for a couple of days near the new Kiwanis Park, and we had no idea. So things like that, we would be notified if there's and we would set those parameters. Like, we want to know all hot files, like wanted persons, missing persons, those type of things. We'd get notified of those. So,
sure.
I think it's a good system. It's a tool to solve crime, and it just gives a little bit of security to the citizens of Clinton.
Sure. Tony Harris, Clinton City Administrator, our guest in studio. We follow up the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. I know you and the mayor, particularly the mayor, has talked a lot about this with us. The Welcome to Clinton signs, an agreement with Kinder for the lighting of these. What's going on here, Tony?
Well, I think I mentioned it last time when the mayor was here that those signs, the lights have not been working properly, and several years. I'm not sure how many years, but I just felt like with the partnership with the Rotary Club and what they are looking to do with move some of the club signs to the Welcome to Clinton signs, we're totally in support of that. But why not take it a step further and look at those signs, each one of them, and see what kind of repairs need to be done on those signs and illuminate the signs at nighttime. And that's what we did. There was some mention, why didn't we go with solar? I checked into that, but it's just for the reliability and performance. I just felt like it needed to be
electric.
Yeah, electric. So that's what we did. And we're here. We're trying to get new retail business in town, trying to attract new people to come to town. We want people traveling through here. We need to take care of our signs as well, just to, so people know that, hey, welcome to Clinton. We take pride in our city, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Sure. Very good. Very good. Let's hit on a few more things before we go to break, Tony. The census analytics reintegration with BSNA. Do you know much about this?
A little bit. BSNA is a company. Clint, our treasurer, he and I were involved in this, and they had some financial software that was end of life and it had to be replaced. So we sat through a few demos, and we actually chose this. He and I chose this BSNA for his financial side of it, but we took it a step further. The company also offers some other functions that we want to take advantage of, like online permitting. Right now, we don't have any kind of, like, if someone would need a permit to build a new home or for a deck or a fence, all we have currently right now are just paper applications. And you can download those off the internet and fill them out, but you got to bring them into City Hall. We're trying to make this in a electronic form where someone can sit at home and do their permitting, pay their water bill, things like that from home. And they won't have to come up to City Hall and be an inconvenience. So that's what that is.
Do they do no solicitors lists?
Do they what?
Do they do no solicitors lists?
We do currently now on paper, but I'm glad you brought that up. Those are type of things that we will be tracking as well.
Yeah. So we should move that to online.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I've talked to Chief Bross over in Monticello. They recently did that. He said it's been huge success. Yeah. So yeah, I would love that if you did that. That'd
so we're looking at a lot of, when it comes to this BSNA, we're looking at what all they have to offer. I don't have the go live date in front of me, but it's in July. So we have a lot of work to do. And Clint's had most of it with his financial side. And then on my side with zoning, ordinances, permitting, things like that, we're trying to get in an electronic form.
Sure. Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, Tony, let's break, come back, talk more about that Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. Tony Harris, Clinton City Administrator, my guest in studio this morning. More to come with Tony on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
The Illinois Emergency Management Agency has designated WHOW's many platforms on AM and FM, as well as WEZC 95.9 FM, as standby radio stations for emergency messages to be sent for severe weather, as well as for the Clinton Power Station. We also have a direct link to the National Weather Service for watches or warnings to air immediately when they're issued. Keep yourself and your family safe by tuning into the WHOW platforms on AM, FM, or streamed online, as well as on WEZC 95.9 FM.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block. What you need in stock. With people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, the helpful place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Jay Peterson here from Peterson Insurance, your auto owner's insurance agent in Clinton, Farmer City, and Maroa. Stop by any of our locations or call 935-6605.
Looking for a provider who puts your health first? SIU Family Medicine is accepting new patients. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your first appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine, forward for you.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest in studio today is Tony Harris, City Administrator for the City of Clinton. We follow up the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. Tony, let's talk demolition bids for an East Main Street property. What's going on here?
Yeah, I mentioned that just a little bit earlier. Again, that's the abandoned building. It's been abandoned for several years on the corner of Monroe and East Main Street. And, it's dangerous. We need to get it down. So the process that we have to do is take bids for the project, advertise the bids, send bid notices out, which we did. And we got the bids in. The lowest bid was $132,940. Came in a little bit lower than what I thought it would. But, the company that got that bid is Steve's Trucking. It was put on file last night. It won't be voted on until the next meeting, but that's just how the city has to do things. That's what we did. Again, it came in lower than what I thought. I'm pleased with the outcome of it. I think that my main concern with that project is that building is connected on two sides. It's connected to the north and to the west. So it's going to be a very tedious job, especially on the west side. We think that there's a walkway on the north side, so it won't be quite as bad. But then again, that's where the roof fell down. That whole entire north wall is down. But that west end that's connected to the Ohio building is what we have to be concerned about.
Right.
And this the gentleman that's going to be doing it, owns Steve's Trucking. He and I have had several meetings talking about it. He's experienced doing that with connected buildings. He does it in other towns and other counties. So I'm pleased with that. But we're going to be that's going to be a big part of my job is when that happens to make sure that goes correctly. I've even brought on a structural engineer just because of it's connected to the building. I just think that we need to make sure that we've got someone on board with it that knows the structure issues since it is connected with that Ohio building.
Okay.
And then I've met with the owner of the Ohio building, very, very good guy. And by the way, that's a very nice building. And I thank him for the work that he's put into that building. It's very nice. And and that's what we want to see up on the square, and we have the facade grant through the TIF funding that can help pay for that kind of stuff. But again, getting those down, that's important to us, just to take that danger away, and then see if we can get some retail business there.
No question.
It's we're gonna stay on it with this structural engineer. I meet with him next week just for him to take a peek at it and see what if there's anything that we need to do. There's lots of things to think about doing a project like this. When the building's down because it was connected, what are those walls going to look like? So we're going to have to do some work, and those walls were interior walls. Now they're going to be exterior walls. So what do we have to do? So it's not just taking the buildings down and be done with it. We've got some work outside of that. Once they're down, what's wrong with the walls? We took the responsibility of taking the windows down. Now we're going to have to take on the responsibility of repairing the walls, doing the facade work on the walls. So there's been a lot of work that went into this project, and it's taken several months to complete. But I'm hoping that my goal is to get them down before that 4th of July weekend, because it's going to be a big weekend, and we can talk about that in a little bit too with America 250.
They're on next, actually.
Are they? Oh,
yeah,
good,
they're on next.
Good deal. Yeah. But that's our goal. I told council that's very important to me that we get those down before that weekend, because again, they're dangerous, and we don't want there to be an incident up there when we've got a crowd up on the square, and they plan on using that block as well on Monroe.
Okay.
So
all right. Let's wrap up, Tony, talking about solid waste bids for City of Clinton properties. What's going on here?
Well, we do that yearly, and that's just again, that's like you said, that's the City of Clinton property. We have to bid certain things out, and that's one thing that we do. We bid out our waste, and the waste would be like the trash cans at all the parks, the city buildings, the dumpsters, the city hall dumpster, those type of things. We have to bid those jobs out, and we had three bidders. We had GFL, JNS, and Republic Services. Republic Services is a new one that bid this year, and all three of them, got a little bit of the work. So just because they were, cheaper on certain things, like the, totes were a little, we chose the totes, one company for the totes, one company for the dumpsters, and one for the recycling at the hospital. So it's just a process we have to go through, and that was put on file. I believe it will be voted on at the next meeting.
Okay.
So just part of what we have to do because we're a municipality.
What do you know about the water and sewer rates that's on file?
Clint has worked through that with Johnny Wise. I don't know a whole lot about that other than that the prices have increased a little bit, and because of that the ordinance has to be changed.
Okay, maybe I'll get with Clint on that next time we talk then. Very good. Tony, always good to see you, man. Appreciate you coming out and talking with us as always.
Yeah, no problem. You said that the next group is America 250. I encourage the public and businesses to get involved in that. They are at our last meeting. We had a meeting on Monday evening, and we're still short on some. They are still short. The city's trying to take a backseat role in this, but support it. Mayor and I, we sat on that committee, but they mentioned that they're still in need of funding, and they've done a great job raising money. But if anybody would like to volunteer, they would be looking for volunteers for that weekend, or B, funding it, then contact someone within the committee or me at City Hall.
Sure. And again, we got them coming on next. Tony Harris, City Administrator for the City of Clinton, our guest. Network News is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason.